morning, everyone. This is Dr. Cortez. And we'll continue with the series for discussion for business research. Nasa chapter 3 na tayo ng ating discussion. The title of chapter 3 is your methodology. Chapter 3 is a methodology of research. So we are done with chapter 1, the background, the problems and its background. Chapter 2, the review related literature, and chapter 3 is this one, the research methodology of your research. Sa laman na ito ay lahat ng related literature and studies na i-discuss the methods na gagamitin nyo sa inyong research, no? So itong chapter na to will present the procedure, the research procedure na ginawa nyo to answer the objectives or the research questions na gagamitin nyo sa inyong study, like what type of statistical treatment of data, what are the data to be gathered, the data gathering procedure, instruments na gagamitin niya, whether that is interview, observation, or questionnaire, and how do you analyze and interpret yung data na gagamitin niyo. Now, sa methods of research, primarily you're going to use the interview method, na. So, pwedeng structured or unstructured interview. For example, pag structured ang ginamit mo, so naka-ready yung mga answers na pipiliin ng mga respondents mo. While if it is unstructured, walang pattern na susundin yung interviewer and interviewee. Unstructured is the interviewer can answer kung anong gusto nyong isagot dun sa questions ng interviewer. Sa unstructured interview, the interviewer asks questions based on the response and used to get further details in the use of online claim processing. For example, no, you are doing research on claim processing ng insurance. Ko iba-iba yung sagot ng mga interviewee mo. So pag meron kang 50 interviewees, it is possible na meron kang 50 na sagot sa yung research question sa yung questionnaire. Okay, so open-ended na pag sinabi nating unstructured interview, open-ended na yan, open-ended questions. Okay, so to continue, okay, so pag structured interview, ang ginagamit mo naman dyan ay yung close-ended, na. So minimize yung sagot ng mga interviewees na gusto lang isagot kasi nakalatag na dun yung mga possible answers sa isang interview, and they will just tick the boxes, no? Example, meron kang 8 indicators sa iyong questionnaires, no? So check na lang nila 'yon. So, they are not allowed to answer on their own. Pwede naman minimize kasi meron kang box na others yung title, no? So, pag meron silang idadagdag, ilalagay lang sa others na option, no? So, meron naka-ready rin mga indicators pag close or structured interview yung ating gagamitin. Now, sa second portion ng Chapter 3 Methodology is the population, sample size, and sampling technique. Population, ito yung group of people na gusto mong pag-aralan. Usually, ginagamit natin is, example, no? You are going to interview insurance client. Some population is the insurance client. Buong Metro Manila, for example, no? Pero siyempre, hindi lahat ng insurance clients ay bibigyan mo sila ng questionnaire. Pipili ka lang doon ng respondents mo. So out of 100, for example, no? O ilan din ang respondents mo doon, no? Out of 100,000, ilan yung respondents mo? Okay? Example, we have two groups of respondents. May-ari ng insurance or yung mga insurance client. Yan. So, minimum of 30 na. Dalawang groups to. 30 for insurance owner or insurance provider. Then 30 for the insurance clients. Minimum. No? So, minsan pinapagawa ko not the minimum 30. I ask them to come out with 35 respondents per group. Ayan. So, pwedeng 75, no? 75 yung respondents. Now, the sample size, nilalagay din natin dito kung ilan yung out of the population, ilan dito yung bibigyan nyo ng questionnaire. Example, sa ating sample dito, the researcher used the purposive sampling and choose 60 motor cars claims employees to answer the questionnaires. 60 yung respondents na sasagot ng questionnaire out of the total population na insurance provider and insurance client sa buong Metro Manila using Sloven's formula, no? So 60 motor car claims insurance. Okay, now madalas ginagamit is the purposive sampling. Purposive sampling is a non-probability sample that is selected based on characteristic of the population and the objective of the study. Okay, so purposive sampling is different from convenience sampling. We also call this the judgmental, selective, subjective sampling. So depende lang dun sa gusto or characteristic ng data. Kung naisip ng isang researcher na itong taong to ay pwedeng bigyan ng questionnaire based on his judgment, on her judgment, based on her, that is subjective kasi, no? So pwede siyang bigyan ng questionnaire ng isang respondents hanggang makakama out ng 60 motor car claims employees. So mga research naman yun, for example, no, you are into insurance, restaurant research. So customers mo na papasok sa iyong resto, pwede mo silang bigyan ng questionnaire based on purposive sampling. So iba to sa random sampling, no? Ang random marami kasing klaseng sampling na ginagamit natin. Random sampling is different. Pero dito hindi natin pwedeng gamitin because of the pandemic, no? We can't use the random sampling. So purposive sampling yung ating ginagamit. Okay, so yun ang laman ng ating population, sample size, and sampling technique. Okay, sa description of the respondents, so you will just describe here. Africa. Okay, you will just describe the respondent sa part na to. Example, the respondents of the study are 60 motor car claims employees and policy holder. Yan, piniliwanag na ang sumagot ay mga policy holder ng isang insurance. Okay, so you will just also describe here kung saang lugar, example, Metro Manila, no? Kung yan ay isang company, kung isang company ang pinanggalingan ng mga respondents, you will describe here yung pangalan ng company. For example dito, no, employees of Malayan Insurance Company. Okay, you will also present here the following categories. For example, no, you describe the respondents based on their age, gender, civil status, and educational attainment. No? Now, kung yung may magtatanong kasi, sir, may nakikita akong description ng respondents na nakalagay sa chapter 4. Nakalagay sa findings daw, no? Now, if the age, if the gender, if the civil status of the respondents are not that important, no, sa inyong study, wala sana masyadong bearing sa inyong study, sa chapter 3 mo siya ilalagay. Okay, now, if the gender, the age level, status, education background of the respondents have importance in your research, meron siyang bearing sa inyong research, it will affect the research, sa chapter 4 mo siya ilalagay. Okay, now, but for our discussion, we assume that the gender, the age don't have effect on the research. So, chapter 3 natin siya ilalagay under description of the respondents. So, just describe here, no? Now, the first thing to be described is the age level of the respondents. So, lagay mo dyan, no? Title, Table 3.1. So, white Table 3.1. Nasa Chapter 3 tayo, kaya 3. And Table 1, that is why Table 3.1. And you will have the title of your table, Customer Respondents based on age. Okay, so you write here the table. Yan. Okay, so you have 4 columns here. First column is the indicators, the age level. So you have the bracket here. Example, 25 and below, 26 and 30, 31 to 35. Okay. Now, depende rin sana to, no? Kasi ito yung mga insurance users, ang dito, mga respondents, no? So, karamihan insurance users ay mga, let's say, working na. So, meron kang bracket 25 and below. Pero depende sa sa research mo, no? Example, if you research about online shopping, electronic shopping, no? So, mga nagsa-shopping doon, hindi lang 25, kundi like 16 years old and below. So, bumababa ang age bracket mo pag depende sa research mo. Pag online shopping yan, parang nababaliktad, no? Pag online shopping, pwede malagyan dito 15 years old and below, 16 to 20, 21 to 25. So, pag online shopping, minsan nawawala yung mga ibang age bracket like 51, 75 and above, di ba? Kasi sa online shopping, hindi naman masyado raw nagsha-shopping yung mga medyo hindi masyadong comfortable sa mga gadgets. Yung mga bracket na medyo advanced in age na tinatanggal nila. So, depende sa na. Now, for the sake of this research, insurance policy holders sa ating respondents, that's why 25 and below, 51 and above kasi meron pa rin gumagamit ng insurance, car insurance, 51 and above or 60 and above. Okay, so this is a normal table. This one is a common type of table. We have the frequency, second column, and the percentage sa third column, and the ranking. So, ilalagay mo tong table na dito pag tapos ka na mag-survey. Yan. Pero pag hindi ka pa nakapag-survey, hindi mo pa ilalagay itong table 3.1 dito. So, lalaktawan mo muna to. Okay? Now, pag mayroon ka ng result ng questionnaire, So, example, sa 25 and below, dalawa yung sumagot. So, frequency is 2. Yan. Okay, then, ilan total respondents? 60. So, 2 divided by 60 is equal to your 4%. So, 26 and 30 naman, example, na 11 yung sumagot. So, 11 divided by 60 is equal to 18%. O, saan nakuha yung 60? 60 is the total respondents na binigyan mo ng questionnaires para masagot mo yung percentage dito. Okay? The percentage total should always be 100%. Pag hindi yan 100%, so mali yung percentage mo. Sorry. Now, sa ranking, the last column is the ranking. You're going to rank the frequency. Percent. Then, majority of them belongs to 36 and 40, so that is 33%. This is rank 1. Okay, rank 2, rank 3, rank 4. Okay. Now, may nag-type. Pag just in case na may nag 4. 5 below. $5.57. Teka, ba't ganito? Dalawa yung ating 4. So, nag-tie sila. So, they are ranked 5.5. So, bakit 5.5? Kasi supposedly, ang next na rank natin is rank 5. Idalawa sila, no? So, rank 5 and 6 ay ating pagsasamahin. So, rank 5 plus rank 6 is 11 divided by 2. Why divided by 2? Kasi dalawa yung 4. Okay? So, 11 divided by 2 is 5.5. So, ang rank natin, yung dalawang 4 natin, itong 4 na yan and the other 4 here, should be rank 5.5. Yan ang ating ranks 5 and 6. Then, yung rank 7 ang susunod. So, pinaka-konti ay yung 1 respondent for 46 to 50 bracket, that is 1%. So, this is rank 7. Okay, now, next thing to be done, yung result ng table, you're going to describe the table. Okay? So, palaging sa ilalim yung discussion about the table. Ako na may di-discuss ay yung first 3 in rank lang. Example, the first one, the rank number 1 is your 36 to 40 bracket. Okay, so lagyan mo dito. You should have an open yung paragraph sa description. The respondents of this study are 60 motor car claims employees. Yan, paliwanag mo sila. Then presented in the following tables are the breakdown of the respondents as to age level, gender. Then you follow with the explanation discussion for table 3.1. Okay, so table 3.1, itong nasa ilalim, no? Table 3.1 presents the frequency and percentage distribution of the customer respondents description as to age level. Okay, yan ang title ng table 3.1. Ito na yung second paragraph, no? You're going to discuss, no? As noted on the table, rank 1 are those respondents at the 36 to 40 bracket with 20 respondents. Out of 60, equivalent to 33%. Okay, so nasa ilalim siya, di ba? Yan. Rank 2 are those in the 31 to 35. Rank, completing the rankings is the rating at rank 3, those in 26 to 30 bracket. Okay, napaliwanag. this shows that majority of the respondents came from 36 to 40. It means these are young professionals. So you will analyze, no, bakit rank 1 ang pinakamarami na nag-avail. Example, in this example, no, we're going to discuss, or the researcher discuss, why rank 1 is the number 1, or bakit 36 to 40 respondents ang pinakamaraming nag-avail ng insurance. You will analyze why. So ang sagot niya ito. Itong sagot, ito ang analysis ng researcher. It means these are young professionals who work as insurance adjusters, motor car insurance evaluator with extensive knowledge in motor car insurance. Yan. And the next number of respondents are from the bracket of 31 to 35 with little knowledge of insurance claims. Yan. So this is how you analyze na yung result ng table mo. So bakit you're going to justify the ranking. Bakit itong group ang pinakamarami, bakit itong group ang pinakakonti. Okay, that is the table for age bracket. Okay, so next one is the table for the gender. So dalawa lang itong ating table natin dito. So taas ko lang alam to. Yan. Actually, the discussion should be below the table. So itong mga to, lahat ng discussion, no, sa ilalim siya ng table ilalagay after the table. O, tandaan nyo ha, baka mamaya magtatanong naman dyan. Okay, table 3.2. And another thing, huwag nyong ikakat ang table. Okay? So, ang table palagi siyang buo in one page. Yan. Palaging ganon, no? So, avoid this one. Hindi siya pwedeng cut, hindi pwedeng putol ang table ng karugtong sa kabilang page, no? So, always write your table in one page. Yan. Ganito siya. Right? And the discussion should be below the table. Okay. So, pag may nakitang ganon, so, ilipat lang sa kabila. Table 3.2 is about the gender of the respondent. So, may title ka rin dito. Yan. So, double space on title and the table number 3.2. Then after that, double space. So, title. Now, ito naman gender, di ba? So, may dalawang gender lang tayo. Male. Although in your questionnaire, pwede kang maglagay ng doon, LGBTQ, for example, no? Pero pag yung mga sumagot ay dalawa lang sa iyong questionnaire, no? Dalawa lang ang category na mayroong laman, male and female. So, dalawa lang. Now, pag dalawa lang ang indicator mo, male and female, wala ka ng ranking. Nagra-rank lang tayo pag tatlo yung indicators natin. Pero pag dalawa lang, wala. Okay, the same thing. Meron ka ditong the frequency. Meron kang percentage column. Ang males are 39, 65%, 21 ang female, 35%. Okay, then get the total. Ayan, so palaging 100% yan. At palaging 60 din yung total ng iyong frequency. Okay, then below is the discussion for table. So table 3.2. Below that immediately, no, in discussion. So table 3.2 above shows the frequency and percentage distribution of the customer respondents as to gender. Okay, so on the table, so just mention the frequency kung ilan, 39 and equivalent to 65%. Females, 21, equivalent to 35. Then you, once again, you describe, you discuss, you analyze, no? Bakit ang breakdown? Example, yung sabi ng researcher dito, This reveals that even though there are more male respondents who works as an insurance adjuster in insurance industry, yan, mas marami raw yung male respondents kesa female counterpart. The difference is not that big. There's almost the same number of male and female respondents who are employed as insurance adjuster. However, it could be implied that male respondents daw are more interested to know the different fraud prevention in online claim processing. Ito yung mga sumagot ng ng insurance fraud, no? So, mas marami yung male na interesado daw kung bakit nangyayari ang fraud sa isang insurance claim processing kaysa sa mga babae. Okay, you just analyze deeply, no? Hindi sa superficial na analysis. You don't just mention yung number of respondents and the percentage. Sabihin mo bakit? Example, conducting a fraud investigation is risky because most of them are staged accidents or fabricated. At dito medyo malalim yung kanyang analysis, no, sa kanyang table 3.2. Okay, the next one is table 3.3, customer respondents as to civil status. Ayan, so 3-4 yung indicators dito kaya meron tayong ranking. Okay, single, married, separated, others, no? Baka may sumagot ng widow or widower. So, nilalagay natin sila dyan. But, in this case, walang sumagot ng widow, widower, no? 3 lang. So, the same thing, meron kang ranking dyan. And after the table, you describe yung table. So, table 3.3, sa ilalim, di ba? Sa ilalim discussion natin ng table. Table 3.3 presents the frequency and percentage distribution as to civil status naman. Okay, paliwanag, analysis mo. As noted on the table, rank 1 are those respondents in married category with 32 respondents out of 60. Yan, so we'll just mention here, no? But importance is yung analysis mo. Bakit kaya mas marami yung insurance policy holder na married? 53%. 42 lang yung yung single. Yan, bakit mas maraming insurance holder ang married kesa single? Yun ang pinapaliwanag mo dito. Okay, ang paliwanag nyo dito, ano ba yan? Yan. Majority of the respondents are policyholders and insurance adjusters who are engaged in processing motor car insurance claims and know the importance of using online claim processing. Okay, so itong depende sa yung study, no, kung paano mo sa ina-analyze, no. Mas maraming married kasi mas maraming may sasakyan, no. Mas kailangan ng mga married individual ang may sasakyan kaysa single. 3.4 itong educational attainment ng isang respondents, no? So 93% pinakamarami college graduates and master's degree 5 and 2. So the same thing, you mention below the table 3.4 above presents the frequency and percentage distribution of the customer respondents. Okay, then based on the table, majority are college graduates, rank 1, no? And you will explain why rank 1 yung college graduate na policy insurance holder. Alright, it can be concluded that there is a greater number of respondents who are college graduates compared to those respondents with college units only, because majority of the insurance industry prefer to hire a college degree earner. Kasi respondents din dito kasi ay yung mga policy provider, no? So respondent sila sa study na to. So majority are college graduate kasi usually siyempre insurance provider will hire those college graduates kaysa mga non-college graduate. That's why mas marami yung sumagot ng kanyang questionnaire. Okay. So that is the portion on description of the respondents. Then babanggitin mo naman next ay yung mga research instrument. Yan. Anong ginamit ng mga instrument dito? The researcher gathered the needed data by using the following instruments. Pinaka-common is the questionnaire. The instruments used by the researcher to collect data is the survey questionnaire. Yan. It aims to know the effectiveness. So we'll describe here, no? Ano yung example, ano yung definition ng ng survey questionnaire and paano mo sa ginamit sa iyong research. Yan. So example, the researcher gathered data for a while now. The researcher gathered data needed by using the following. Paano ginagamit yung questionnaire? Example, the first instrument is the questionnaire. The instrument used by the researcher is to collect data is the survey questionnaire. It aims to know the effectiveness of online claim processing. So, anong research question ang sinasagot ng survey? So, saan mo sa ginamit? Saang research question? Example, the survey questionnaire was used to know the effectiveness of online claim processing for motor car insurance. Ginamit din siya to know the benefits that online transformation brings to motor car insurance claim. Ginamit din siya why insurance industries are now embracing digital transformation. Ginamit din siya to know the effectiveness of online process in enhancing the company guidelines. Yan, yun ang mga pinagamitan, no? Mga research questions na pinagamitan ng research instrument na questionnaire para masagot. Now, you will also supplement your survey by an interview. Pero hindi lahat, no? Kung meron kang 60 respondents sa binigyan ng questionnaire, so hindi naman lahat yun ay i-interviewin mo. Pumili ka din randomly to add or to supplement, to evaluate yung sagot nila doon sa kanilang questionnaire. Example, out of 60, no? Yung 10 pumili ka randomly. Yung 10, yun ang iyong in-interview. So, interview, the researcher conducted an unstructured interview. Unstructured, walang so wala silang walang naka-reading tanong, walang mga boxes doon. Basta kung anong tinanong nung interviewer or researcher based sa questionnaire, yun ang sasagot ng just to add to add strength on the answer of the interviewee. This was personally done but informal to complement the answer on the questionnaire. So, gusto mong dagdagan o gusto mong i-verify yung sagot niya dun sa survey, kaya gumagawa ka ng interview. Okay. Alright, so you will discuss here the process of doing the interview and why. Bakit mo siya ginagawa. The next part is the data gathering procedure. So, paano mo ginawa yung pag-gather ng data? Example, the researcher prepared a letter addressed to the head. No? So, yun naman normal mong ginagawa, di ba? If you're going to interview employees of one company, so meron ka ditong letter, example, letter to the owner, letter to the HR ng company na yon, so that you can float yung questionnaires na gusto mong pasagutan sa kanila. Address to the head of the insurance company, for example. This one is about research insurance or insurance research. No? So, address ng letter niya dito to the insurance company. Then, upon approval of the letter, the researcher distribute the questionnaire personally to the employees ng company na yon. And thereafter, the researcher sought the approval of the respondents to float the questionnaire. Para siyempre, di ba? Yung questionnaire mo dito, after writing that, it should be validated first by 10 non-respondents. So, pinapacheck natin yung questionnaire natin bago natin i-float yan. Now, kapag yan ay hindi naman hindi sa isang company ka mag-float ng questionnaire. So, wala ka ng letter to the head of the company. But you will prepare a letter addressed to the respondents. Okay, so pag company yan, dalawang letter, no? Letter to the head and letter to the respondents. Pero pag example, you will just interview customer of fast food, no? So kung sinong makita mo sa daan, for example, no, gusto mong bigyan, so isang letter lang ginagawa mo, letter to the respondents lang. Okay, thereafter the researcher sought the approval of the respondents to float the questionnaire. Kaya mayroon kang letter to the respondents kung pwede silang sumagot. Sa letter nakalagay doon yung title lang yung research, anong pangalan mo ng researcher, saan ka, anong school ka belong or anong company ka belong, why you are conducting the research, and meron din dapat doon na assurance that the answers should be treated with confidentiality at gagamitin lang for research, and you will not divulge the names of the respondents. Okay, having found the questionnaire valid and reliable, copies were distributed to the respondents with the help of some of his colleagues. So, basically, kung anong ginawa mo na pag-float, ikwento mo dito. Pero ito, iba to sa this one is a face-to-face type of data gathering. You can do data gathering through sending them through emails, no, or using the Google form and sending the questionnaires to them. He personally administered the distribution to 60 employees who were purposely selected. Okay, this survey was conducted talagang face-to-face, no? The researcher distributed the questionnaires personally. Pandemic, di ba? Pero pwedeng gawin naman na, example, pag mga office mates mo naman sila, nagkikita naman kayo once in a while, example, your meeting is 2 times a week, o pwede mong ibigay personally yung mga questionnaires mo. Pero pag hindi, no? If they are strangers, so you will give them through Google form. After giving the respondents ample time to answer the questionnaire and having 100% retrieval, the data gathered from the survey are analyzed, organized, and interpreted. Okay. So meron ka dyang validation, no, of the instrument. Okay, next one, statistical treatment of data. Paano mo ginagamit? Paano mo i-treat yung data? Paano mo sasagutin yung mga questions? Anong ginawa mo para mag-come out ka ng table, no? So may ginagamit kang mga statistics. Example, statistical treatment of data. Meron ka dito open yung paragraph. The data from the questionnaires were tallied, tabulated, and were subjected to statistical treatment. to ensure validity, reliability, and interpretation. And you will describe in the following paragraphs yung mga statistical tools na ginamit mo. The researcher used the following statistical tools. Firstly, the frequency and percentage distribution. So, kwento mo dito, no? What is the frequency and distribution? Paano mo sa ginamit? Bakit mo sa ginagamit? This was used to determine the profile of the respondents, benefits that online transformation. So, babanggitan mo dito, saan mo ginamit ang frequency and percentage distribution? Anong tanong yung sinasagot niyan? Example, pero pag meron kang tanong, no, sa research mo, what are the profile of the respondents? O sinasagot niya ng frequency. What are the benefits that online transformation brings? So sinasagot ng frequency. Limitations of online claims processing. Suggestions on the preventions of fraud. So ito yung mga questions sa survey mo na ginagamitan mo ng frequency and percentage distribution. So babanggitin mo sa dito. Kasi kanina example yung profile, di ba? The profile of the respondents, the age, the gender, the status. If you can recall, no? Ginamitan natin sa ng frequency and percentage. So kaya binabanggit natin sa dito. Okay, now a percentage is defined as a number of represented as a function of 100. You just mentioned the formula. Paano mo kinukuha yung percentage? Kanina sa ating table, pag meron kang dalawang age na below 25, so 2, ilan total respondents mo? 60. Anong ginawa natin kanina? 2 divided by 60. Diba? Example, ang sagot is 4%. Paano nakuha? Yun ang papaliwanag mo dito. Formula, no? Example, how to get a percentage P. That is equal to frequency kung ilan ang sumagot sa age bracket na 25. Example, 2. That is the F. Okay? Then F divided by the N. The N is the total number of respondents. Sa ating sample dito, 60. So that is 2 divided by 60 times 100. Ang sagot niya, that is the percentage. Yan. So ilalagay mo dun sa third column ng iyong table for age, gender, status, and educational background. Okay. So in this study, the percentage was applied in analyzing the response to questions. So you can just copy this one and edit some of them. Huwag mo masyadong kopyahin. Edit mo lang ng konti, no? Now, the first one was percentage and distribution and frequency. Ang second one, na tool na ginagamit mo, gagamitin mo yung the weighted mean. Define. To assess the effectiveness of online claims processing for motor car insurance, the weighted mean was used, no? The responses of the respondents were categorized into 5 and were given corresponding weight. Okay. So, ang weighted mean natin ginagamit, mamaya, nagpapaliwanag natin paano siya nakukuha. But, basic din the formula, no? Weighted mean is equal to F divided by N times 100. So, parang tulad dun kanina. Pero iba na dito yung N. Hindi na siya 60. Okay. Now, the Likert scale. Ang Likert scale, this one is the Likert scale. Okay. So, ang Likert scale, naggamit mo yan kung not the frequency, no? Hindi yung dami ng age, no? Hindi mo siya gagamitin doon. Kasi sa age bracket, sa gender, and this is status, ginagamit mo lang doon ay yung frequency. May pinagagamit ang ibang Likert scale, no? Now, we define the Likert scale here. To qualify the responses on the rating scale, the 5-point Likert scale method of measuring the agreement of the respondents on the effectiveness. Okay. Meron kasing questions doon. Example, no? Pinasagutan sa'yo. Gaano ka-effective ang online processing? O guys, focus kayo dito. Ang question sa survey nyo, ganito. How effective is online processing in preventing fraud sa isang insurance company? Yan ang tanong. Yan ang pinapasugatan nyo sa inyong mga respondents. Ang tanong, how effective? Hindi sa pwedeng sagutin ng number. Hindi sa pwedeng sagutin ng yes or no. Gaano ka-effective? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mamimili ka dyan. Gaano ka-effective? Extremely effective ba? Very effective? We are talking about We're talking about online processing. Gaano ka-effective ang online processing in preventing fraud sa isang insurance company? Mamili ka dito. Extremely effective, very effective, effective, somewhat effective, or not effective. Okay? Now, depende kung anong pinili mo dyan, sa iyong question, meron kang 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pag pinili nila very effective, they will check 4. Pag pinili naman nila effective, they will check 3. Pag not effective, they will check 1. Yan ang sagot ng iyong mga 60 respondents. That is what we call the Likert scale. Okay, now, ito naman ay isa pang example ng Likert scale. Ang tanong naman ganito sa survey. Gaano ka seryoso yung fraud? Gaano ka seryoso yung fraud incidents sa isang online transaction ng insurance? Yan, how serious insurance fraud is. Yung lokohan sa pag-claim ng insurance, gaano sa seryoso. Yun ang sasagutin ng mga respondents mo. Mamimili sila very serious, neither, or neutral, not serious, or not very serious at all. So pili sila dyan, no? Example, pinili nila. Naisip nila, they think that napakagrabe ang fraud sa pag-claim ng fake insurance claims. They will check 5. Right? Pag naisip naman nila na hindi masyadong seryoso ang fraud sa insurance, so they will check 1. Yan. So ang sagot ng mga respondents mo ay it's either 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Depende sa lang check-checkan dyan. Okay? Now, assuming na meron kang 5 respondents. 5 ha? At yung 5 respondents ay sumagot ng ganito. Respondent 1 sumagot ng 5. Respondent 2 sumagot ng 4. Respondent 3 sumagot ng 3. Respondent 2 sumagot ng Respondent 5 sumagot ng 2. Okay? Example lang ha, you have 5 respondents. Sumagot ng bawat isa sa kanila 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ang next mong gagawin, yung kanilang mga sagot ay ito total mo siya. Okay? So 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. Okay? 9, 12, 14, 15. Tinotal mong sagot nila 15. Alright? So 15, lagay ko dito na 15. Okay, tandaan nyo 15. Yung 15, sa pagkuha ng weighted mean, yung 15 ang ilalagay mo dito. Example that is the F, 15. Yan. 15 divided by N. Ang N natin, number of respondents. Okay? Ilan ang respondents natin? 5. Ay, sige. Mali. Okay, 5 ang ating respondents. Therefore, to get the weighted mean, that is 15 divided by 5 times 100. Alright? So, ang sagot is 3. Okay? So, 3 now is what we call the weighted mean. Yan. Yan ang pagkuha ng weighted mean mo. So, iba siya sa ating getting the percentage or frequency, no? Iba. Ibang weighted mean sa frequency distribution. Yan. Ganun pagkuha ng weighted mean. Alright? So, balik ko to baka di ko mabura mamaya. That is the F. Yan. Ito yung N. Gamitin nyo ito sa rating sa sa Likert scale, no? Example, sir, how if meron kang 10 respondents. O sige, 10 respondents, no? Sumagot ng 5, sumagot ng Sumagot ng 5, 5, 5, 5. May sumagot ng 4. May sumagot ng 4. May sumagot ng 3. May sumagot 3. Sumagot ng 4. So, ilan na yan? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. O, isa pa. May sumagot ulit ng 4. So, ang response natin, 10. Yun ang sagot nila sa Likert. 5, 5, 5, 4, 4, 3, 4, 4. No? So, ganun din. I-add mo lahat yan. So, 5, that is 20, 28, 31, 35, 42. So, equals to 42. Tinotal natin. Okay? Then, 42 divided by, ilan sila? 10. Yan. So, sagot is 4.2. Okay? So, ang weighted mean mo is 4.2. Okay? So, ganon. Then yung 4.2, hahanapin mo sa iyong Likert. Example, ayan. 4.2. Saan nagpo-fall yung 4.2? 4.2 nagpo-fall sa dito. Hanapin mo sa dito. 4.2. Okay, dito siya nagpo-fall. 3.5 to 4.49. Okay? So, ang interpretation mo ng 4.2 is very, nandito sa nag-fall di ba? Interpretation ng 4.2 is very effective. Yan, dito siya nag-fall. PE. Okay, so ganun pag gawa ng iyong Likert scale. Kasi ginagamit ang Likert scale to qualify the responses on the rating scale, the 5-point Likert scale, a method of measuring agreement is used. Yan. So pala 5-point na ating gagamit. Pero depende sa inyong tanong. Hindi ito sample lang to. Ginagamit to kung gusto malaman ng effective o hindi. Siyempre pag iba naman ang tanong mo, hindi effective ang gagamitin mo. Example, ang tanong ko doon, how satisfied ang isang online shopping customer? How satisfied? So ang ano mo dito, ang choices iba na. Extremely satisfied, very satisfied, satisfied, not satisfied, or no opinion. So, depende sa tanong Papalitan lang natin yan. Pero palaging 5. Pag 5-point rating scale, papalitan mo lang yung mga, yung mga wordings, no? Pero, basically, pareho yung 4.5 to 5, pareho yung 3.5 to 4.49, pareho yung 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Magkakaiba lang dito. Okay, sa pangalan. O tulad dito, dalawang Likert skill siya, di ba? Isang effective na Likert, isang series na Likert. Pero pareho sila ng 5. Pareho yung numerical equivalent dito pareho. Yung scale is pareho. Magkaiba lang sa mga words dito. Depende sa iyong research question sa inyong questionnaire. Okay, then the last part of chapter 3, the equivalent point assigned, you will just describe the Likert. Okay, so that is it ends your chapter 3. So, madaling siyang gawin, no? So, I hope that you learned how to do your chapter 3 now. Nasang umpisahan, no? Okay. I will save this one. All right. Okay, so we are done. I will now stop presenting. I hope that you learned something from this lesson in writing your chapter 3. Okay, and once again, this has been Dr. Cortez, Richard Cortez, signing off, and see you again guys sa ating mga next na topic dito sa aking channel. Bye everyone. Love you all.